So speaking of fights, man, the other big news that everybody's talking about is you versus Bisping.
Bisping, man, do you really want this? Because I'm like, don't play with me. Don't get me all pumped up if you don't really want it. Because number one, this would be a first time that somebody come up to a weight division and stronger and more powerful than the person they're going up to fight. Like, I'm gonna have the speed advantage, the power advantage, the wrestling advantage. You know, he's just a better fighter. So
The technical boxing
for
advantage.
sure, the technical
Yeah.
boxing, the jiu-jitsu advantage. You know, and I won't make the mistakes and play around like Luke Rocco did or Anderson Silva. So, and I'm not gonna be as one dimensional as Dan Henderson was. So
Yeah.
I love that matchup. I don't mind having two belts.
Yeah, has the UFC said anything to you about that, or they're just kind of like seeing what's up? Or, I mean, it's just, I mean, it all happened so fast. So, I mean, I'm sure there probably is not
What's
necessarily.
happening is they were like, okay, we got a couple options. If Conor wants to fight me, that's going to take precedence over everybody because he would have a chance to fight for a third belt. They saw the little build up with us in New York. They're going to make that fight happen if that's what Conor wants.
Yeah.
Okay. Number two, if Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz or one of those guys want to fight, excuse me, guys, for 209, you have to do that.
Of
Nobody
course.
else represented 209 better than those two individuals, and we didn't even know the 209 until they showed us why we should know about Stockton, California. So I would believe it's a disservice to the sport if they didn't do, even if they had to pay them more than I was making. I would feel offended if they didn't do everything in their power to take advantage of this big market opportunity to put one of those young men on a car who's done so much for the sport. Then I can always fall back on a remix with Wonder Boy. Do he deserve it? As the weeks and months have went by, no. I mean, if one judge that could have saw it in my favor could have said round 1 was a 10-8, round 3 was a 10-9, and round 4 was a 10-8, all for me. One judge said I could have won 3 rounds to 9. One judge said I could have had 2 10-8s and 1 10-9. So it was never a controversy on whether I won or lost. It's whether I won or it was a draw.
Yeah. But you know what? And that's all based on, the rules and the way the rules have been rewritten for this year. Man, I don't think that we're ever going to see that again when everybody gets on the same page, because now they're scoring fights based on damage and not necessarily just like control. Kind of like what we saw in the Hendricks and Neil Magny fight. Hendricks might have got the takedown. Hendricks was getting the takedowns, but he didn't throw one punch. So it was like they're not giving guys points for just getting a takedown and not attempting to finish a guy. They're looking for damage and attempts to get a guy out of there. So, man, so like if you take that into account with your fight, I mean, it's clear. It was a clear victory.
And not only that, it's like this. We fought in New York for the first time.
Yeah.
It's been clear that they were fighting not to have a professional in New York. So, with that said, are we going to immediately think that all these judges in New York that are, hired by, the government or whatever the government job, it's a government job, correct? It's not old MMA and UFC fighters.
It's not. It's
so
like
we can't
I think they're
expect
like
these guys to be
boxing
caught up
guys.
to speed.
Yeah, I think they're like boxing guys.
Yeah, we can't expect him to be caught up to speed.
Yeah.
Because backing up, one, I know you didn't like that because we didn't plan on that. So we're gonna eliminate that the next time around. But it doesn't necessarily mean the person was winning, especially when they were missing.
Yeah, and like obviously he was getting points for that, and guys are getting points for that. But now, when the new rules take effect, hopefully, I mean, I'm sure it's going to take a while for it to catch on, throughout the masses, but hopefully guys don't get points for just that type of like cage control or that, and it forces guys to try to fight, to try to finish, man. Like the goal in this game is to finish. So that's what I'm looking forward to for sure.
I wonder if they're going to take these into account.
These what?
All these nails, don't trip.
So, but I don't know if we ever really established. So, how did the whole thing start with between you and Bisbing?
You want to know how it really started? This is how it
Yeah, how did that
started.
start?
Me and Bisping did a show on UFC on Fox, what we called the show Anthony Pettis versus Max Holloway, and we was talking about fighting George, and then we was kind of joking, going back and forth, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I should get that fight." I'm like, "How should you get that fight?" And I'm the goddamn welterweight champion, and he was a welterweight. I should get that fight. So we was like, we was playing, and we legit almost started arguing, and then we looked at each other. I said, "Man, we might have to fight over that fight, man." And then he was like, he was laughing like, "Oh my god, I'll kick your butt." And I was thinking like, so why don't we just fight? He's like, "Why don't we?" I said, "All right, let's do it."
So that's how it happened. Y'all were playing, and then said, "Hey, that's actually a good idea."
Yeah, we were playing and we realized it was a brilliant idea. And then from that point, we saw each other again. I hadn't seen him since I worked with him on Fox. I saw him again at the show. He said, "You still serious about that?" I said, yeah. And then we kind of got into a little scuffle in the back. It started off the conversation. Then it was like, you know me. You can't call me a little man. I'm like, dude, I weigh more than you. How much do you weigh? He was like, about 210. I said, you know I weigh 205, right? 200. I punch
Yeah.
harder than you. I'm a better wrestler than you. And I said, let's bet. So what I thought he was saying was, he said, I thought he was saying no belts on the line, as if he didn't want the belts on the line. But
Hmm.
he was saying if we do a catch weight, it will not be any belts on the line, meaning that he wanted to put his belt up.
Oh,
I
he
didn't think
did.
silly.
Yeah.
So hey guys, if you fans want to see me and Michael Bisping, the Count versus the Chosen One, fight for the middleweight UFC world title, let me know and let Dana know and let the UFC know, because that's a fight that I would definitely. I'm ready to fight a normal mother. You know what? All
Well,
these
I mean, honestly,
jitsu.
it makes sense, man.
Yeah, I'm down to fight a regular freestyle fighter again.
Well, here's why it makes sense for you, because as opposed to doing like a catch weight. That to me, that doesn't make any sense for you to go up 10 pounds and ignore 5 pounds and not have his belt on the line. Forget that, man. Like if you're gonna do it, fight that dude at 185, man, and put his belt on the line.
I
You know what
fight
I'm
him at 195. They want
saying?
to fight him at 205.
But
And I
the
fight. I thought he didn't want to. I didn't want him. I did not want him not to take the fight.
yeah.
So I thought he was like trying to, you know, protect his belt. But when I went back and watched the video, I'm like, hold on. He was saying that, hey, if we do it at that weight, then there would be no belts on the line. And he thought I didn't want to fight for the belt. I'm like, no, I do
Nah,
want your belt.
yeah. Man, I hope they let you get that, man. Like the only problem is, he gonna want to do it in England, in London or something, and that's, it always sucks to fight way over there.
Oh, definitely, man. And sorry I'm coughing, fans. I've been trying. I'm gonna be honest. I've been trying to mute when Dean talking so I can cough. Man, that dang on desert and jumping back here to the freezing cold Missouri and tow my thoke up. That's
No,
what the old grandmas used to say. The thoke.
the
You
folk,
need, honey, you need to clear your goddamn thoke.
you
You
got
need to
that Zika.
get some tussin in your system.
Oh my goodness,
But
good
yeah,
times,
so
man.
we don't know who I'm gonna fight, guys. So it could be, but I will tell you in the category if I had to pick the most likely to least likely, and also the most important to me. The most important to me, George St. Pierre would be number one. After that would be Nick Diaz. After that would probably be Bisping. After that would probably be Nate Diaz. Then it would probably be Conor McGregor. I take that back. Conor McGregor go right underneath George St. Pierre. Forget that. George St. Pierre, Conor McGregor, because that little thing need to be shut up. And then at the very end of that will be Wonder Boy and finally Damian Maya. I'm sorry, you guys created this monster. Don't blame me. The fans have done this. You guys agree to it, so that's our game now.
I mean, it's the fight game, man, and it's whatever the way I see it. Like
And I want to
it's
fight
whatever.
all of them. I want to fight all of them. I just want to fight them at the right time. Like
Yeah.
I want to fight Wonder Boy again. I want to fight Damian Maya. I want to fight Robbie again. I want to fight freaking Kelvin Fatsalem again. I want to fight freaking Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz, George St. Pierre, Conor McGregor. Those are like I'm looking at. I'm already the champion. How do I become a freaking Chuck Liddell? How do I become a great like Matt Hughes or all these people that will forever be remembered for the sport? How do I become that? And it's by fighting these type of people.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're right, 100% right about that. It's like getting them names on your resume. I mean, it really makes no sense to, because like, and this is the one thing that people don't understand. Like, Wonder Boy is a great fighter. He's a really good fighter, but he's not going to go down in the Hall of Fame probably. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
then it's like
you
this.
need them
I'm not
guys.
even, it's not like I'm saying I'm better than Wonder Boy, but I have a bigger name than Wonder Boy, and I'm trying to fight a bigger name than me. So
Yeah,
if I start knocking off, you think about me beating Koscheck, beating Paul Daly, beating Carlos Condit, beating Robbie Lawler, beating George St. Pierre, beating Conor McGregor, beating Michael Bisping, beating Nick Diaz. Now my name starts to go into that flow. When you say those names, when you say Tyron Woodley, it doesn't sound weird. Right now, if you say Tyron Woodley, Damian Maya, and Stevie Wonder Boys, those three names will not sound right. If it was a kid's puzzle, it would say pick out the one that don't go. It would be us three.
yeah,
And I'm honest, and I'm the champion. So if I
yeah,
can be honest with myself, I'm gonna need for them to pipe down, chill out, and just be glad that the rematch is even on the table because you lost the fight. Like be
yeah,
glad that that's even an option.
yeah.
Don't feel overly entitled for something.